All right, we have a very special edition of the Bleacher Report live stream today. We are coming from the winter meetings here in Orlando, Florida. We're in a very large hallway. It's about an eighth of a mile separating Waldorf Astoria, the fancy place where the executives stay, with the Hilton, a fine hotel, but not the Waldorf Astoria, of course. We're going to talk about some of the big free agents and some trade possibilities. I'm already getting some chats in here. I'm going to get to these chats in a little while. I appreciate that. I'm going to get to as many as I can. Let's start with Kyle Schwarber. He seems to be the big news early on here. He's got so much interest and activity very early that I think something possibly could happen here. I'm not going to guarantee it. Don't guarantee anything on this show, but certainly a lot going on with Kyle Schwarber, if not now, not a little bit after this winter meetings, probably. Philly, I think they're pretty confident. Can't be completely confident in free agency, but they should be confident. He had a fantastic year there, great ballpark, great team. No reason not to be confident. The only reason maybe not to be confident is that there are many, many teams in on Kyle Schwarber. Some real surprises and then some not so surprises. But Red Sox, we know that they're in as well. Certainly very interested in Kyle Schwarber. After Philly, also Cincinnati, his hometown team. He is from Middleton, Ohio. That is his hometown, and they've got a good ballpark for him as well as Boston. The Mets, a little bit of a surprise team. That could be a fallback team, potentially, if Alonso doesn't sign up with the Mets. But they need to get a slugger to combine with Juan Soto. That was the best thing about last season's team. Not a great team, not a great showing, but that was the best thing about it. Pirates, according to Ken Rosenthal, 4-year offer. Obviously, they're in there trying. Good for the Pirates. Probably a long shot at this point. I'm going to throw the Cubs in there as well. I mean, this is his old team. They seem to be doing stuff. Doesn't feel like they're going to go after Kyle Tucker very hard. Doesn't feel like they're going to get Tucker, but I'm not going to rule out Schwarber. Let's talk about some of these chats that I'm getting. I'm getting a ton already. Do you see the Astros doing anything? I think they're looking at starting pitching. They're looking at trades. I think they've talked to Tampa, the White Sox, a few other teams about potential trades for starting pitching. Don't think they're going to spend a ton of money. Pirates in on Pete Alonso. I haven't heard that. Alonso will be coming here tomorrow and will be meeting with the Red Sox and the Orioles, two teams we knew that had interest already in Alonso. Certainly Boston looking to add some big bats, particularly from the right side. So in a way, Alonso probably fits better than Schwarber. They do love Schwarber, though. They did have Schwarber. Haven't heard the Pirates in on a lot of people. They're in on his good friend Jeff McNeil as a potential trade candidate. That might take a while, though, because they're obviously looking at bigger fish earlier. Are the O's making any progress in finding a starting pitcher? They're in on Ranger Suarez. I think they love Suarez. He's got a great October pedigree. I think that they will do well there if they can sign Ranger Suarez, but he certainly is going to be looking for something in the $130, $140 million range. So, I mean, it's a lot of money, but the Orioles not ruling them out. Yankees and Bellinger update. I mean, the Yankees don't seem to be aggressive right now on anything. They're kind of laying low. So, kind of waiting to see what the market is. So I'm not sure right now if anything is close with the Yankees and Bellinger. I kind of don't think so right now. Are the Cubs talking with Minnetonka? I'm not sure about that one. Certainly, we know that they're interested in Bregman. They love Bregman. I get that. They really don't have a big need at third base unless they've decided they're going to move on from Shaw or trade Horner, which, I mean, he's the lifeblood of the team. As I mentioned on a recent show, I don't see them trading Horner at all. So I think Minnetonka, that's probably a long shot for the Cubs. Bregman is a guy they're clearly in on him. Detroit, Cubs, Red Sox, all in on Bregman. All right, Sox, Alonso, absolutely, they are in on him. Arise to Texas, a possibility. Haven't heard much in connection with Arise. Didn't have his typical year in his walk year, not serving him well. He's a contact guy. Texas needs offense. That could work. Skip wants Arise. All right, well, that's I don't know if that's true or not, but I could see that as a possibility. Arise was with the Marlins, does make some sense. That was probably written somewhere, and I give whoever wrote that, I give credit. Philly and Cattell market, Cattell Marte market, or is that Philly rumor? I believe so. I'm going to talk about a lot of the trade possibilities, including Ketel Marte in a little while. I do believe the Phillies are a potential there as well. I mean, we know that they're looking a little bit at the infield. I think more so the outfield. Certainly Schwarber's the main guy. Real Muto's the second guy. They've got Ranger Suarez out there. A lot going on with Philly. I think other teams might be more likely on Ketel, but I'm not sure he's getting traded at this point. All right, Bellinger, everybody's interested in that. Anything on Marlins? They've got money to spend, and let's hope they spend it. Marlins and Pittsburgh need to spend. Phillies, Bo Bichette. I think it's a potential maybe as a. We'll see what happens with Toronto. To me, Toronto is the team for Bo Bichette. I didn't know that was going to be something I would say a year or two ago, but it does feel like he had a big year. They certainly are a very busy team, and we're going to talk about all the busy teams later. I feel like Toronto is the team for Bichette. Boston could be a team. Philly, maybe not going to rule out Mets Alonso. I got about 5 times Mets Alonso. Then we have Nets Alonso. They took typing lessons from whoever I took typing lessons from. Miss McCormick, Lawrence Junior High School, and that didn't work out for me. I got all 70s. Mets Alonso. Yeah, I mean, to me, that makes incredible sense. He is coming here, as I mentioned, or at least expected to be here tomorrow to meet with the Red Sox and the Orioles. Obviously, they need to get a big bat to combine with Soto, whether that's Alonso or Schwarber. You got to think that it's probably, Alonso's got to be their first choice. It does feel like there's a better feeling around Alonso and the Mets that there was last year. They had a good first meeting at the GM meetings. Obviously, we're a month away from that now. I don't know if we're any closer to Alonso Mets reunion at this point. Call it a reunion because he is a free agent once again. Did take a lot longer last time. It feels like it's a better feeling with Alonso now. I think the Mets certainly are a real possibility because the Mets really need to get either Alonso or Schwarber, and Schwarber is not a likelihood with the Mets. I mean, Schwarber is, I would gotta say the Phillies are still favored on Schwarber. Red Sox in the mix, certainly Cincinnati in the mix. We've got other teams trying, Pittsburgh, the Orioles, maybe the Cubs. That's kind of speculation, but certainly Alonso and the Mets does make a lot of sense. You think Mets will make a move this week? I'm going to talk about the Mets and my busiest team a little bit later, but I'm not going to guarantee anything on timing. It doesn't feel like there's anything real hot and heavy today. Maybe tomorrow. We got a couple more days here. We could see Red Sox land Alonso. Absolutely a possibility. They're going to meet with the Red Sox and with the Orioles. Yankees and Bellinger update. I'm sorry to tell you, I don't see an update at this point. Let's go here. Phillies in on Ketel Marte. I'm getting a lot of the same things that people are interested. That's good. All right, very good. Anything on the Mets? The Mets do need to get in the starting pitching market as well, and we'll see about that. In the relief market, I do believe there's a gap, at least last time I heard, with Diaz and the Mets, unfortunately. So that may take a while, right? Diaz wanted a 5-year deal. The Mets not willing to go to the 5 years at this moment. He may have to prove it with another team, whether that be Toronto or maybe L.A. I don't know. I'm not sure I've heard L.A. with Diaz at this point. Feels like Robert Suarez has got Toronto, Mets, and L.A., Diaz at this moment, Diaz has the qualifying offer. I think Diaz is the best. I think he's the best reliever in the game. I love the Timmy Trumpet. I love everything about him. He's terrific. But he does have that qualifying offer. He is 31 years old, and he does want a 5-year deal. So there's some hesitation on the Mets' part for that. Cubs with Munetaka Murakami. Sorry if I mispronounced. Like I said, I think it's Bregman more likely if they go that route for a big-time third baseman. Murakami, big power. I mean, certainly somebody's going to get an amazing power hitter. Does have some holes in the swing, did strike out a lot. Not a great defender at third, but he will be interesting. Mets and Valdez, I saw that report a week ago. It didn't seem to be hot at that moment. Valdez is an outstanding starting pitcher. I think he's going to do very well, but I'm not sure that market is close at this point. What Cardinals will Keim move? Brendan Donovan is drawing interest from everybody. Probably the Yankees, Mets. I hear Royals, Mariners, probably just about every team. A versatile guy. People love Brendan Donovan. If they want to move him, they will be able to move him. A little bit more difficult is Contreras. Even more difficult, the future Hall of Famer, at least in my book, Nolan Arenado, has had 2 years in a row that have been kind of not great years. He is around 30 years old, a little bit over 30 at this point, so that's going to be hard to move. Giants trading Bryce Eldridge. Yeah, I mean, look, they're top prospects. A lot of them over the last decade have ended up not really panning out. I'm not sure what they're thinking on Eldridge. They got a little bit of a look at him. I wouldn't think they'd be giving up on him at this point, but you do hear that rumor that they are considering thinking about something like that. Could the Mets prioritize Schwarber over Alonso? I don't know. They're not going to reveal that. They've checked in on Schwarber. I would think Alonso's the fit. The fans want Alonso. He's the all-time home run champion. Maybe the Mets want to shake it up. I'm not sure exactly how they're shaking it up, though. Not the way I'd shake it up. Trading Brandon Nimmo, who's a great, great guy, and then bringing in Devin Williams, who's, he's not a bad guy, but he's no Brandon Nimmo, that's for sure. So I'm not sure what their thoughts are on the clubhouse, but Alonso's fine in the clubhouse. I see no issue there. He's been a great Met, played 162 games each of the last 2 years. To me, he should be the call there. I get it with all the other teams with Schwarber, 56 home runs, 23 from the left side. I understand that. All right, let's go to category number 2. It's now 11 minutes after, and I will get some more chats in a little while. All right, let's go. Category number 2, deals that could go down. Mackenzie Gore. Certainly, the Nats are in trade mode. They've already traded Jose Ferrer, the very fine reliever. They got Harry Ford back, plus more, which I think was spectacular. That was a great deal by the Nats. Good for them. And I do believe Mackenzie Gore has a good chance to be dealt. Of all these excellent starting pitchers, he may have the most chance to be dealt. It does feel that there's a lot of interest in him, and they are a team that is clearly rebuilding. They know what they want to do. I think that Paul DeBoni is off to an excellent start. I feel like he probably will trade Gore. Will it happen here? Not going to guarantee that. He's got 2 years to go before free agency. I think teams will really like Gore. I know the Padres loved Gore. They tried hard for him at the deadline. Do they have the money now? I'm not sure. Kind of the word out there is that the Padres do not have big bucks to spend, and they obviously need 2 starting pitchers. I kind of talked to some Padres people, and I suggested some guys who weren't going to cost that much, but they want to aim higher. We'll see how they do it. I saw that Dennis Lin reported that potentially they might make a trade Pivetta. I'm not sure how that helps in terms of adding to the starting pitching rotation, but maybe they're going to spread the money out a little bit more. Pivetta had that big backloaded deal, only made $1 million or $2 million this year. I think he finished 5th or 6th in Cy Young. I voted that vote, and I gave him a 5th place vote. So he had an outstanding year for San Diego. Ketel Marte, that's a big name floating around the lobby. They're saying not that likely, but certainly there are a lot of teams checking in. Some of these teams are looking at Bregman or Bichette as well. So, again, how likely there's a superstar player. Ketel Marte is absolutely fantastic. One of 4 players with 150 OPS plus over the last couple years. The others are Soto, Judge, and Ohtani. So, Ketel Marte is an outstanding player. I've reported Boston's in there. I've reported Toronto's in there. I believe Philly's in there. I believe Seattle's in there. Basically, big market teams with big money to spend all in on Ketel Marte, and I get an outstanding second baseman, outstanding hitter. Basically, they're willing to talk about just about anybody but Perdomo and Carroll. That's kind of the way the D-backs are looking at this. They were disappointed last year, didn't make the playoffs. They've had a couple times where they come close on the playoffs, didn't quite make it. They want to change it up a little bit, I think, maybe, but I'm not saying it's the likelihood that he gets traded, but his name is out there. Severino, one of my favorites, did a podcast with us, the New York Post, outstanding pitcher. He should be traded. I don't know if it's going to happen soon, but 6 ERA in that little minor league ballpark, which isn't a great minor league ballpark. I understand Tampa played a minor league ballpark, but that's a much better minor league ballpark. I haven't been in Sacramento, so if someone wants to kill me for saying that, I'm going on the word of mouth. People have told me, not Severino, but others have said it's not a great ballpark. And they basically only sold out like 7 times, I think, when, big teams were in, maybe the Giants and a few other teams. So it didn't really work perfectly, but they only have 1 more year to go there. But Severino obviously did not work out there. 6 ERA at home, 3 on the road. I still think he can pitch if he's pitching anywhere but West Sacramento. All right, I'm going to throw Bubic in there from the Royals. They are dangling pitching for outfield help and trades. I think they've talked about Donovan, who I mentioned earlier with the Cardinals. They talked about Westberg from the Orioles, but they're really looking at outfield help, and there's certainly some free agent outfielders that could help them. And they're not going to look at Kyle Tucker, I don't believe, or Cody Bellinger. Excuse me, I'm dating myself there, Cody Bellinger. But they are going to talk about other free agents. Austin Hayes is a potential. Mike Yastrzemski, who did a great job for them. I mean, was hit so many leadoff home runs for them. I think set a team record for most leadoff home runs in a month. He really was a great pickup for them. A left-hander, though, so Bader's a righty. Look at him. They're going to look at Austin Hayes. He's a righty, so they may do that by free agency, but Bubic's name is out there, and if they can find the right trade partner. Now, Bubic didn't help the situation, unfortunately, not blaming him, but he missed the last couple of months with injury. He was outstanding at the beginning, but this has certainly affected his trade value. Might take a little while to make that move. Another move, Eduardo Cabrera. I don't think the Marlins are going to trade former Cy Young winner Sandy Alcantara. I think Alcantara probably needs to show that he is still a Cy Young caliber pitcher. And I think they'll hold on to him. But Cabrera is a guy they could trade. They have significant depth. So that's a possibility. You know, more likely Gore traded, I would say Cabrera and Peralta, throw them in the same mix, not 50%, but some chance. Much greater chance, obviously, at this point than the Minnesota guys. Right now, they're saying not trading Lopez. Right now, they're saying not trading Ryan, and certainly Skubal. I mean, obviously, that's the talk of the winter meetings, but I don't think Skubal is all that likely at this point to be traded. We'll see. Could change. Red Sox in on Joe Ryan. All right. Yeah, I'm sure they'd be interested, but right now the Twins are saying they're holding Ryan and Lopez and Byron Buxton. All would have significant trade value. They traded 11 guys. It was logical to assume or think that maybe they would continue with the trades, but it appears right now that they're really not trying to trade anybody. They'll listen. So I'm not going to rule it out. Michael King or Zach Gallen, which is more likely for the Cubs? You know, I'm going to throw out a different pitcher for the Cubs later, but they certainly have talked about all these guys, whether it be King, Gallen, and others, even guys who are bigger names than King or Gallen, and certainly will be bigger bucks. And I'm going to get to that in a little while. All right. Let's see what else we got here. All right. I'm scrolling down to see if you have any more. Jarren Duran to the Dodgers. I get that every week. They are trying to revamp the outfield. It does feel like Teoscar is kind of out there. Ken Rosenthal did report that as well. And they needed outfield help. That was, I mean, you would say that was probably their weakness last year, maybe that in the bullpen. And I do think they will look at outfield trades and Jarren Duran a possibility. Boston could trade Duran easily. I think that San Diego and A.J. Preller will be heartbroken if Jarren Duran goes to the main rival and the Dodgers. The Dodgers have broken their hearts enough. This would be another one, no question about that. All right, Sox are loaded with pitching depth, prospects, and outfielders. They can make big trade. Do you see it? Possibly. I mean, Marte's a possibility, but they could just sign somebody too, right? They could sign Bichette. They could sign Bregman back. Alonso, Schwarber, Polanco. I know there's been some rumblings about they're not going to spend big bucks. It's the Boston Red Sox. I mean, come on, guys. You got to be able to spend. Let's go. All right. Brendan Donovan market, it's huge. Teams really love this guy. As I said, I think New York teams like him. Anybody who will like him because he's very versatile. The Astros are a team I didn't mention earlier. Certainly has been on Brendan. I've been in on Brendan Donovan for quite a while. All right, let's go. Giants in on anything big? You know what? Somebody reported that they wouldn't be in on a big starter. I do believe the John Morosi report that they met with Framber Valdez at the GM meeting. So I'm not going to rule out the Giants in something big. I could easily see that. That's a team that's very well heeled. They've got a lot of money. They do very, very well. So I do believe that. If Ben Cherington's big move is trading for McNeil, I'm not going to be happy. Keller for McNeil. No, I mean, Keller's got value. McNeil at this point is worth less than his contract. He's not doing that. Don't worry about it. They're starting, and they're going to give it a shot with Schwarber. They're going to give it a shot with other bigger name free agents, and then they'll work their way down, and maybe at that point, McNeil could be a fit for them, for Seattle, for a few other teams. All right. What's next? Tucker. He's the big one on the market. Doesn't feel like he's as close as Schwarber is. Not that Schwarber is very close. Hard to know there, but feels like we got a half dozen teams on Schwarber. Tucker's going to be more money, so fewer teams. Not a shock there, not a reflection on him. He did go to Toronto. I know somebody poo-pooed it by saying, well, he lives in Tampa. He's from Tampa. It's only a 40-minute drive or so. You could correct me if I'm wrong on that, but about a 40-minute drive. I've been there, so I kind of know where Tampa and the facility is for the Jays. I think it's around a 40-minute drive, depending on where he lives in Tampa. But I do believe Toronto is going to be a big spender. They're a busy team. I'm going to talk about them later as a very busy team. So to me, that's the logical landing spot. The Dodgers, I think I've seen someone report that they're going to probably look at him on a shorter term basis than an 8, 9, or 10-year deal. And so, I think that's a team that's connected to Tucker at this point. Cubs, I mean, they're looking at starting pitchers, who I'm going to mention in a little while. And it doesn't feel like they're there, right? They're talking about, they've got Casey, they've got other young guys who could fill the outfield role. They could get a platoon in the outfield. Doesn't feel like they're in on Tucker at this moment. So not a lot of teams have been linked to Tucker. Does that mean he's not going to get the $400 million? No, it doesn't necessarily mean that. I predicted 375. I'll stick with that. I mean, I think he's going to do very, very well. I mean, that's certainly very well. Would he be disappointed not to get 400? I doubt it. I mean, that's a lot of money. And I do believe Toronto can afford it. They're obviously looking at Bichette as well. I'm not sure how they prioritize them, or even if they could sign both of them. Maybe they could. I don't know. All right, let's talk pitching market now. We've got 9 minutes to go. On the pitching market, we've got Fromber and Imai, I think, to me, are at the top of that pitching market. I've heard some concern about Fromber's second half, but I'm looking at his overall record. This decade, he's won as many games as anybody, tied with Max Fried for the most quality starts. He's only behind Zach Wheeler. This is a guy who should do very well. Obviously, C set the market with a $210 million deal. Maybe these guys, even at the top of the market, aren't going to get the $210 million. We shall see about that. But I do think if anyone can, it would be a Fromber, who's done great, or the other guy is Imai, Tatsuya Imai, 99-mile-an-hour thrower, 1.92 ERA last year, 2.1 ERA over the last 6 years. Only 27 years old. So Imai's got a big market, and I'm going to connect the team with Imai later. We know the Phillies, Yankees, and others, although the Yankees seem to be slow playing things. Phillies are in on many, many things. Number one priority, of course, Schwarber, followed by Real Muto. We shall see about all of that, though. But I do feel like the Phillies are the favorite with Schwarber. I do want to say that again, because I've connected them with him with many teams, including the Reds, the Mets, the Red Sox. But it does feel like Philly is a spot for him. 56 home runs, good ballpark, good team. Ranger Suarez, the Orioles and many other teams are interested in him. He's an October star. Does not have a lot of mileage on him. Should do very, very well. Zach Gallen, we know he's got the qualifying offer, but look at him compared to Sean Manaea, who got a 3-year, $75 million deal. If he could repeat that, I think that's good. But, I mean, look at Gallen's overall track record, much better. Manaea did have the better platform here. We'll see about that. I know that he's been linked to the Cubs and some other teams, as has King. It feels like this moment, at least unless AJ Preller can talk his ownership into it, King is going to be too rich for the Padres. He's got a qualifying offer too. I don't know if they care about that. They find talent, however, they do find it, so they will find it. And Merrill Kelly, I include him. I think he's a terrific pitcher. I've seen reports of 10 or 11 million a year. He's probably a $20 million a year pitcher. So I'm not sure where those suggestions are coming from, but I think he is a terrific, terrific pitcher. All right. Let's see. Giants going after pitchers. Absolutely. I think that's the way for them to win. They won 3 World Series that way. I'm also not ruling out the big pitchers. We know they met with Fromber. Even if the report said they're looking at more mid-range, we shall see. They can certainly afford it. I think the Giants are blowing smoke. Who do you think they're getting? I don't know if they've blown any smoke, because I think they told somebody the opposite, that they aren't going for the big pitchers. I think it's the exact opposite. I think they're playing possum, and they're actually going to get somebody pretty good. Orioles news. I'm going to get to some Orioles news in a little while. Any Mets news? Not yet, but they obviously have to do a lot. They're going to be one of my busy teams, and I'm going to talk about what they need to do. All right. We got my curveball and my fastball. My fastball will be Cubs, and I'm connecting him to Imai. I feel like there's a decent chance of this. They've done very well in the Japanese market, really well. I mean, they've got Suzuki, they've got Shota Imanaga. The Dodgers have done the best in the Japanese market. There's no question about that. But the Cubs have done superbly. And they tried hard for Ohtani when he was out there and didn't get him. And then the second time, for whatever reason, the ownership decided not to go for it. Obviously, the baseball people were all in on Ohtani. They understand the Japanese market. So my fastball is Cubs and Imai. If fastball means he's definitely signing today, I'll back away from that for a second. But I do like the Cubs and Imai. So I like that connection. I like that link. Imai's an outstanding pitcher. They get him, that would be a great rotation. They may end up with Gallen or King, which would be a big pickup as well. We shall see there. My curveball, I don't know if this may be more of a fastball. I guess I don't know the difference. This is why I was never a pitcher. I don't really have the difference between fastball and curveball. I'm going to go with Orioles and Ranger Suarez. I believe they have made an offer. They are in on Ranger Suarez. I do believe they like him very much. I don't know that there's anything close with Ranger Suarez and the Orioles, but I do believe that is a strong possibility. That would be a small move from him from Baltimore to Philly. You East Coast people would know that Baltimore and Philly are very, very, very close. Suarez has been a terrific pitcher, doesn't log a ton of innings, so that cuts both ways. I mean, that's a double-edged sword. He hasn't logged a ton of innings, which is a little bit negative, but on the other hand, he doesn't have a ton of mileage either, so I think he should do very, very well. There'll be a lot of interest in Suarez. He also has been connected to the Cubs. They were connected to the Astros, but to me, the Astros probably were looking at less expensive. I'll put it that way, less expensive starting pitching. We're talking about a guy who's going to probably get at least $125 million, maybe more, would get even more than that. If he'd logged more innings, which he doesn't. All right, let's get the busiest teams. I got almost 5 minutes to go at this moment. I'm going to start with the Jays. We all know they're busy. They've already signed Dylan Cease for $210 million. They've signed another pitcher for $30 million. They rebuilt their rotation already, $240 million. We know they're looking at Tucker, and we don't have a ton of teams in on Tucker, so I got to think they have some decent chance at Tucker. I don't know if it's a great chance, but certainly the Jays are working hard, and I'm not ruling out Bichette. In fact, to me, that's what makes the most sense. Bichette to the Jays. All right, Phillies. They're obviously got a lot going on there, and Dave Dombrowski's a guy who can handle it, but it is a ton. Obviously, they want to bring back Schwarber. I'm going to say that they're the favorites. Not a guarantee, but I do feel like everything worked out great. The 56 home runs, the 23 home runs against lefties. I mean, he was great in that clubhouse. So I kind of think they're the favorite for Schwarber, but a lot of other things going on. They love to get Real Muto back. Obviously, Suarez is a consideration. I think they've talked about Ketel Marte. They've certainly probably talked about everybody, everybody. And they are willing to make some deals. I think Marsh is kind of out there as a possibility. I've read in many other places where Bohm is out there as a possibility. So a lot of trade possibilities as well. A lot going on with the Phillies. If they brought back Schwarber and Real Muto, I think that's terrific. And they come back with a similar team. Some of the fans will say, well, we should change because we haven't done it in the postseason, at least the last couple of years. They did get to the World Series as a surprise team. Didn't win that World Series, but got there as a surprise team. Last couple of years, they were a favorite team. I'm not going to say anybody's favorite over the Dodgers. A favorite team. Didn't make it, so some people would like to see a little bit of a switch up there. All right. Before I finish up with the busiest teams, I'll do a couple more chats. What's the market for Bregman? I think it's going to be similar to last year. Obviously, no qualifying offer at this point. We've got, I think, Detroit, the Cubs, and Boston once again. Could it be Toronto? Potentially could be Yankees and Imai updates. They're one of the teams in, but are they doing anything quickly? If they do, it'll surprise me. I've been surprised before, so not going to rule it out. Any news on Okamoto? I think I've linked him to Pittsburgh, Toronto, and Boston. So we got 3 teams linked on Okamoto. All right. Mets top outfielders after Nimmo trade. I think they love Carson Bench. I think Carson Bench, and I think David Stearns has kind of suggested that is going to get a shot in center field. Now he is another lefty bat, which makes it more advantageous. They go for a righty bat, which would be Alonso instead of Schwarber. probably at this point they'll take either one of them. They got to get one of them, I think. But they would like to lean toward the right-handed bats if they do go with the bench in center field. Bellinger's another guy that they love. They're into run prevention. That would certainly help in that area. An outstanding defender. Could cover them at first, could cover them in center. He would really be a nice fit, other than the fact that he is left-handed. So the Mets, they're obviously looking at the closing situation. Could they add Suarez? Absolutely a possibility. Could they bring back Diaz? They're a little bit apart on that, but I think they're interested. Obviously, they said they are interested. I'll take them at their word, but Diaz would be fantastic. Their bullpen's a little bit empty. They need to do work. They need some depth in that bullpen. They need to do a lot. They need a slugger. They need an outfielder. They need a starting pitching. They need to do a lot, and they will do a lot. I believe the Mets are going to be very, very active. Pirates, shockingly, I mean, I guess we kind of knew it was building up that they were interested in Schwarber, but they made an offer, as reported. They've looked at Real Muto. They've looked at trade possibilities. They probably looked at Ketel Marte, but my understanding is he has a no trade to Pittsburgh, so he will not be going there. But they are active looking for offense. The Orioles, they're out there. They're doing stuff. They've already done plenty of stuff, right? They've got in Kittredge. They brought in Ward. They've made deals, obviously. They're still working. Suarez is the guy I mentioned before. They're going to meet with Alonso, as I mentioned. So they're looking at the big players as well. So those are my teams: Jays, Phillies, Mets, Pirates, Orioles. Sorry I didn't get to all the chats. My time is up. I'll be back at you tomorrow here at the winter meetings. It is getting noisy in this hallway. We will see you tomorrow.